Hi there, I'm Fee Peel, host of the Communities of Collaboration podcast, Mental Health Reform, who we are, where we've come from, and where we're going next. I am a white-skinned, short-haired, blue-green headed human in a blue ribbed jumper over, I think it's a black t-shirt, sitting against a cream wall with a cinnamon-coloured pillow behind. I'm here to say that we have finally wrapped up recording for the podcast. We have now all 6 guest episodes in the bag, and we're working now towards post-production work to release our episode 3, which is coming out on the 29th of June. That will actually be with Emma Paino. We've switched the publishing schedule around a bit, just to give Morgan a little bit more time, giving editorial comment on her podcast. So Emma Paino is actually up next. Episode 3, Peer Work Gremlin, and it's shaping up to be something awesome. So I'd really love you to keep your eye out for Emma's episode, which will air on the 29th of July. But I also want to take a moment to bring you all up to speed on a very disappointing episode in the history of the podcast. In full disclosure, I have been in conversation with all 6 of my podcast guests, and we discovered quite unexpectedly and disturbingly about a week and a half ago that there was information that we put out in episode 1 of the podcast that is not correct. So I had a provider working with me who was associated with the podcast, who is now no longer associated with the podcast. And part of what we put out in episode 1 was saying that post-production training to produce a podcast was a service that could be delivered under NDIS employment supports. That is what I had been told. It is what I had been guaranteed. It is what the podcast studio was told and what they were guaranteed. And we had some very disturbing information come to light about a week and a half ago, and we've had to investigate. We have had to talk to the plan manager. That provider is now being reported to the NDIS Quality Safeguards Commission for a bunch of activities that fall within the category of fraud. So it's been a very, very difficult time. It's been a very, very emotionally disturbing time. This person had become very enmeshed in my life. And so it's been a journey of riding those waves and writing the pieces as we look at the wreckage and try to put it back together the best way we can. So what we have done in studio this afternoon, and I am so grateful, and I want to give a massive shout out to the Good Shout production company. They are an incredible bunch of artists with an incredible set of values, and I deeply, deeply value the support they have given me and the compassion they have given me, and yeah. But what we have done this afternoon after wrapping up our final recording session was we have gone through the first 2 episodes where there was mention of connections with this provider, and that information has all, to the best of our ability, been redacted. Obviously, the flow of the conversation, the flow of the interview, we can't disturb too much. If you are someone that has listened to any of those episodes and you go back in and you have a listen to them again, you will notice there are some things that are missing. There are things that have been removed, and unfortunately it does sound a bit clunky now because it does disrupt the cadence of the conversation. But I, for one, want to make sure there is enough misinformation around regarding what the NDIS can do and can't do. And unfortunately, in this scenario, as in many scenarios, I was dealing with a provider who was convinced that the NDIS should do something. And that's why we walk into the grey. And unfortunately, because she sounded very knowledgeable, and I, as a participant, relied on her to be honest about what she was saying, and she wasn't, it's ricocheted through our lives. So I want to make sure that people are aware. This has gone into many NDIS groups. These videos, we have promoted through those. And I want to make sure that if you are someone thinking that, you know, you can use your employment supports line items to do this stuff, you actually can't. I want to do as much as I can to correct the public record on that. You know, I will leave it up to you. We still have the support of our production studio, the production company. We still have the support of all 6 of our podcast guests. And I guess the rest is down to you. So if you choose to stay with us, keep your eyes peeled for the launch of Emma Paino's episode on the 29th of July. And hopefully we'll see you on the flip side.